So if you're going to give a range, hey, the marketplace seem to be showing us somewhere around like 750, 760 seems to be very reasonable. Does that make sense to you? Like, but yeah, Aaron, we want more. Hey, trust me, I want it to be more too. We all want more unless it's around our waist, right? And they're like, ha ha ha. I want to be 6'5" and play for the Miami Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is, right? And as you know, I don't need to tell you, that's neuro-linguistic programming. What something's worth is if somebody's willing to pay for it. I mean, I know you know that, right? So being that the marketplace is showing us somewhere around that 750, 760 number, now we have a choice to make with regards to strategy, right? Because price is a strategy and attempt to get the most. And we'll go over the strategies that you have because I want you to feel comfortable with the one we end up choosing. Fair enough? Yeah, that's fair. But do you see what's happening? So you are getting baited. You're giving in too fast. And then when you do give in, you're giving this wild range. And you're backing yourself into a corner because they're going to say 800 and you're going to be like, oh no, I wish I didn't say that out loud, but you already did. I need to get you a little wipey because you verbally vomited. I need to get you a little baby wipe to wipe that out. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm setting myself up long-term down this. So here's what I want everybody to be really, really clear on. What Jose said is accurate. Okay. Most of you guys have never had to be good at this skill over the last, 5, 6, 7 years. Ever. It wasn't important because you could list it at any price and it would sell. Hey, by a show of hands, anybody noticing that inventory is going up and stuff's not moving? Oh yeah. You noticing you having to get price reductions? Oh yeah. Do you know why? Because you're not good at this skill. So just practice. But to your point, and to Jose's point, you only get it's repetition. Repetition is the mother of learning and the father of action, which makes it the architect of accomplishment. If you're practicing the wrong way to do it, like somebody's like, oh, I hit like 1,000 golf balls yesterday. I'm like, great. Did you have a guide that pointed out to you what you were doing wrong? No. I'm like, all right, well, you're just practicing how to do it wrong. So there is a sequence, but you'll notice we're asking questions, right? We're getting you to tell us. We're not committing to some big old range. I'm not saying I think, I believe, I know we can get you. And then we're handling objections with logic. The reason why we get trapped where he was like, yeah, but if I offer 750, then they're going to offer me less. Yeah, I get that. At the same time, we might as well offer $1 million following that strategy. And what's interesting about that is that ultimately, it's actually impossible to underprice something on an open market. Can I explain to you what I mean? Well, if 750 is the best deal in the market right now in Oxnard, California for a home like this, what do you think is going to happen in the first week or two?
A bunch of offers.
Oh, and being that we get a bunch of offers and people compete, what usually happens to the price, Reggie?
Goes up.
Oh, so then, in other words, you end up with the most that somebody's willing to pay, which is what something's worth, isn't it? Yeah, so just by you saying that demonstrates that you're beginning to realize that by positioning it a little bit more competitively, we're actually not leaving any money on the table. We increase the chances we can get you as much as we possibly can. Does that make sense to you? So based on what you're looking to accomplish and why, based on, the market stats that we went over together as a team, that through no fault of your own or mine, ooh, that's a good transition. You guys should be saying that all the time. All the time. Through no fault of your or mine, marketplace dynamics have shifted and changed. And in light of what you value most and the time frame you'd like to make this move happen in, what do you think we should do? Where do you think we should position a property price-wise in order to create value in the eyes of the buyer, make them choose your home versus competition? And then shut up.
I think also what I'm getting from this conversation is part of being a great presenter is obviously knowing what to say. Part of being a great presenter as well too is adding things like if you look back at good presenters, people that keep an audience engaged, that's really what we're doing. Even dropping little jokes to break tension as well too. That's part of the presentation because a lot of it not only has to do with okay, who can help me get my home sold, but a part of it is also who do I feel comfortable with? So it has to do how you deliver the information. So Aaron breaking tension and saying, look, do I have your permission to be honest and straightforward? Yes. You're not going to get mad at me and throw me out of the house, are you? They will laugh. They'll be like, ha, 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 ha. But whenever they laugh, that's actually a very good thing because that is allowing them to feel comfortable with you on that end, I'll say things like sometimes, great. Do you have any questions, any concerns, any hallucinations? And they'll be like, ha ha ha, no hallucinations, blah, blah, blah. But do you see that's all part of being a great presenter at the listing presentation, basically? So I don't want people to undermine that little small joke to break in. It's actually a very good thing. Our presentations were really like I'm presenting and we're moving it forward and we're just laughing, but it's all part of the presentation. It's all little things that I've said hundreds of times already, if not thousands of times already, you know? So they're scripted little icebreakers in certain situations to help move the process along. But that's part, like, so I want to ask you guys, like, how good of a presenter are we? You know, like if we did a presentation and there was an audience, would people be like, damn, that was good? Or would people be like, oh my God, like, you know? And that's the level that you want to get to. You want to get to the point where you become a great presenter, because that'll increase the amount of listings that you take and the amount of money that you make. Who else wants to role play?
We do a lead follow up. Here, Jose. Or
Yeah. I think it's good. Yeah, I think do it.
Okay. Are you gonna be the
Yeah, I'll be the seller.
Okay. I guess can we pretend it's a probate then?
Sure.
And the situation is like you got your letters already. Maybe you haven't received them in the mail necessarily, but you definitely are appointed. And you told me that you wanted to sell, and let's just say that there's other beneficiaries involved. Cool.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Ring ring.
Hello.
Hello, Jose. How's it going? It's Mario Marquez. How are you?
Good. What about you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Jose, I just wanted to reconnect with you. Let me start this all over. I was going to ask my other question. Can I start all over?
So here's a thing that I like to use on follow up a lot, and the reason I use this is there's a lot of people following up on your guys' leads a lot of times, you know, and sometimes people don't even remember the conversations that they had with you because they've talked to so many people. And even when somebody's familiar with me, I might say, hey, I'm looking for Mario. Hey, Mario, this is Jose Morales. I'm not sure if you remember me. We actually spoke about 3 months ago about your property on 123 Banana Street. Now, what does that do? Like, let's say, like, let me put you in the seller side. Okay. Hey, Mario, Jose Morales here. I'm not sure if you remember me. We spoke about 3 months ago about your property on 123 Banana Street. All right, tell me what you're thinking right now by me opening it up in that direction.
I'm trying to remember you, and I want to like not prove you wrong, but say, no, I do remember you. We talked about this.
Yeah. So you want to be like, okay, like, do I remember this guy? Did I have a nice conversation with him? Was I a dick to him? Was like, it's like your brain starts going with like, okay, like, I don't really remember. Maybe I remember him. Maybe I don't. Or they might say something like, of course I remember you, Jose. You're actually the guy that told me that you offer X, Y, and Z. How are you? And I'm like, okay, great. That's a great way to start a conversation. Or they might be like, I'm not sure if I do, but how can I help you? But it gets them to a point where they're like, do I remember this guy? Do I not remember this guy? And quite frankly, they'll start wondering, like, did I have a good conversation with this person or a bad conversation? So it usually, in my opinion, like keeps them from having a bad conversation because they're like, did I have a good conversation with him the last time? Or is this somebody that I've actually had a good conversation with, basically?
Yeah,
and it keeps them from making an immediate judgment. Yeah, they're trying to figure out. Aaron, let me get Aaron's thoughts on this. Aaron, what do you think about this?
Well, what's really happening is you're leading with humility. Right? So when you call and you assume that they know who you are, you're leading with authority. And then what happens is then they're like, well, who is this again? And then you'll probably, what most people do is they're like, oh, yeah, like we had a really good conversation and we talked about this and that, which who's that about? Themselves. So instead, I know you've gotten a lot of phone calls, so it makes sense that it would be difficult to differentiate. I had the good fortune of speaking to you, and you were kind enough really to share with me the dynamic with regards to the real property and the estate. I imagine at this point you've probably received your letters. Is that right? You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
again, I'm humbling myself where most agents, do they lead with humility or do they lead with ego and pride and authority?
Ego, pride, and authority.
100%. Don't you know who I am, Antonio? Do you know I sold one home last month? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm such a
Yeah.
big, right? So I agree with Jose like 1,000,000%. Like you're leading with humility, which is great. It causes them to really reflect and think to themselves, oh yeah. And it lets you know where you are with them. Because if they're like, nah, dude, I don't even remember talking to you. Like, and in your mind, you're like, oh, this is a great lead. I'm going to lift it. Now you're like, oh,
But they don't even remember you.
they remember me, dude. And now it's like, oh, now I have to reestablish. I have to like, gently and kindly be like, oh yeah, you were kind enough to share with me. Or, hey, I understand completely. I know you've been bombarded with lots of different phone calls. It's probably difficult to, remember everybody that you speak to.
Right.
As a gentle reminder, we connected and you were kind enough to share with me that you and your sister Susie and Tom, and the reason why I'm inputting like personal stuff is it's letting them know, like, yeah, we talked, dude. Like, there's no other way that I would know this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Like if they're like, yeah, you know what, Mario, I've received a lot of calls. You can even make a little joke, be like, sounds like you've been the most popular person, in town. Hey, I get it, Mario. Like I get it. Sounds like for the next week or two, or until you actually get your property listed, you're probably going to continue to be one of the most popular people in town.
Mm.
And you see how it kind of breaks the ice a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
And then what I like to do after that, so let's say we go into the conversation, I believe that on the lead follow-up, the most important question is, are you still looking to sell?
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, people dance around this question. I don't know why. They'll start, or I think that the worst thing somebody can do is they start creating their own objections, basically.
Okay.
At the beginning, they'll say things like, well, look, like, have you received, they'll start complicating it. It really comes down to like, hey, Mario, look, Jose Morales here. I'm not sure if you remember me. We actually spoke about your property on 123 Banana Street. Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
Just
Mhm.
wanted to reconnect with you. You mentioned to me that at some point you were going to be selling. Are you still interested in selling the property?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Oh, and what I would add to that is like, what he's saying, yes, 100%. We had the good fortune of connecting. You were kind enough. That's what I would add. Hey, you were kind enough to share with me that at some point, the goal and objective of yourself and your siblings, Susie and Tom and Jim, was to get that home on the market and to get it sold. My job is to help you. It's never to talk you into doing anything. Just so I'm clear, is that still something that you guys are interested in?
Is that still something that you're interested? It's basically the same thing as, are you still interested in selling?
Yeah.
Is just framing it differently. But if you
Okay.
notice, you're basically guiding the conversation in the right direction, because that's really what you want to know. You want to know,
Correct.
are they still interested in selling? And at that point,
Look at what's being communicated underneath. It's like humility. It's
Mhm.
like, you were kind enough, which I'm demonstrating like, hey, you don't owe me anything, that's for sure. And you didn't have to tell me that you were going to sell. So I'm appreciative of that. And then to help you, it's never to talk you into doing anything, which is like, hey, I'm unattached to this outcome. And,
Definitely.
and it's like, yeah, so, is that still something that you guys are interested in, or have things changed? And then be quiet. And then they'll start to talk. But you see how it's like really open-ended? Instead of like what Jose's saying, which I see agents do all the time, they create their own friction. So if you imagine, like, have you ever like walked by, let's say you were a man or a woman wearing like a blouse or like I don't know, like suit pants or something, and you got snagged on like a door jamb, or you got snagged on something and it ripped?
Yes. Yeah, it's happened to me.
All right,
For
well,
sure.
we do that in communication, right? We create these barriers that end up causing friction and to get us snagged. And I want to create an environment that's conducive for somebody saying yes, not getting stuck. So when you're like, hey, yeah, I sent you over some information. Did you get it? That's a snag.
Right.
Yeah, you're getting stuck. You're getting pulled back. Or if they're like, yeah, I called you, I was calling and I called you on Tuesday and you told me to call you back. So that's what I'm doing. I'm snagging myself. Yeah.
Right.
I'm creating friction where there doesn't need to be any. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, I definitely do that.
Yeah, like I know most people, like they don't put their home on the market until they get those letters. Did you get them yet? I'm snagging. I'm creating friction where there doesn't need to be any.
Yeah, and I used to do that at the very beginning of my lead follow-up, where I would create these little snags that would not help guide the conversation in the right direction, basically. And then I couldn't close them
Yeah, I
because
think
I
most
created my own
agents do that.
snag.
I think most agents do that, Jose. Like what I was just describing too, with like that big range, 750 to 800. That's a snag. Like you're introducing something that doesn't need to be there. You're introducing something in the mind of the consumer that's going to create an environment that's conducive for them getting stuck, like friction. Like they're not able to proceed. They're not able to like open up and have a conversation with you, which is really the ultimate goal. And so I want everybody on this call to recognize something. If I was to ask you, what's the goal in lead follow-up? You guys
Set an appointment.
tell me to set an appointment. Yeah.
Yeah.
The goal in lead follow-up is to continue the conversation. Let's keep talking. Like, keep talking to me. Like, right? Keep sharing with me what the dynamic is. What's this? So a lot of you guys think that, like, I don't know, if you take American football, like everything's going to be an 80-yard bomb for a touchdown. No. What's going to happen is it's going to be like a 5-yard pass and then a 10-yard run. And then you're going to lose 3 yards. And then there'll be a 15-yard pass.
Mm-hmm.
A 20-yard run, right? All progressing towards the finish line, which is setting an appointment. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I want to
sure.
create an environment where you're open to still talking to me, because I need everybody to understand something. Attention or time spent is a form of payment. The more time you spend with me, the more you communicate with me, the more of an investment that is increasing the probability that eventually they're going to be like, yeah, let's have a conversation, like in person, or let's have an appointment. Does that make sense?
That makes
So I
sense.
create an environment, but what you're putting in the way, what do we put in the way of continuing the conversation? Tell me.
Snag.
Well, no.
No.
Well, who's that focused on?
Us.
Yes. We, yeah, out of our desire, because I need an appointment right now, and I'm feeling anxious and tense and worried because I don't believe in the promise of provision,
Mm-hmm.
we put ourselves in the way. Yes? We
Correct.
snags. Hey, you ready? You ready to do something? Hey, I saw you get those letters. Can we get together today so we can list that thing? Yes?
Yeah, for sure.
Why? Because I need to pay my rent and I ain't got no money.
Rent, bro.
And if I don't get this listing today, I'm not going to meet my daily goal. And it's and then I'll be homeless and I'll be broke and I won't have money to pay my food and
That's right. And they can feel that anxiousness from you, bro. Hey, anybody on this call ever been around somebody that you could sense from them that they really wanted or really needed something from you? Yeah?
For sure.
What is your visceral internal response to that?
The rejection. You don't want to return.
Repel. Imagine, like, let's say from like a personal perspective. If somebody was like, oh, please, can you hang out with me? Oh, please, I'm such a good boy. You should pick me. I'm so this, I'm so that. Don't you know who I am? And what was immediately going to be your response to that person? You going to want to hang out with them?
Probably not.
So why do we do that in lead follow-up?
Because we don't know how to lead follow-up.
Hey, I don't know if you know this, but while you're home, while you were like thinking about getting your letters, I sold 5 homes. Did you know that?
Well, I think Mario. Here's another thing. Like,
Yeah.
like let's say that I'm not sure if you remember. And they're like, well, I don't think I've ever spoken with you, Mario. Like, let's say they say that. At that point, you may want to refresh. Well, you actually mentioned to me that blah blah blah, like something very
Right.
personal that only
A callback.
like something that not a callback, like
No,
something
like
very
more like,
personal.
hey, like, man, you were, yeah, I understand it can be like difficult. You've got lots of phone calls. You've been very popular since this estate was filed. You were actually kind enough to share with me that you and your brother John were making a decision about whether or not to keep this as a secondary home and maybe rent it out or to put it on the market for sale.
Boom. That's
Bang.
something that only
Now he's
somebody.
like, oh.
That's
I
something
did
that
talk
only
to
somebody.
you.
Yeah, that's
You know what
only
I'm saying?
something that somebody would know that you've spoken to. And then at that point, it's like you could either go like, "Hey, is this something that you're still considering, or are you
Hey, but
still looking to sell the property?"
difference. Let's say instead, if I was like, oh yeah, you asked me to send you something. Did you get it? No. Instead, hey, yeah, you were
Are you
kind
still
enough to
interested?
share with me that you and your brother John were trying to make a decision about whether to hold on to it, maybe short-term rental or just get on the market and sell it. I'm curious, because my job's to help you. It's never to talk you to do anything. Have you guys made a decision as far as how you want to proceed? Shut up.
Mm.
Well, no, we haven't decided yet. Okay. And I oftentimes find, and I don't know if this is true for you, that when families are making those decisions, it's really, really helpful to get a clear picture of both options. So in other words, if, and I'm clear that is an if, you did decide to sell the real property, what would be the most amount you could expect to receive on the open market, net bottom line, what the proceeds would be, what the tax implications would be for you and your brother. The second option, obviously, if you did decide to rent it, how insurance would change, how the taxes would change, kind of a cash flow analysis so you guys can determine which one of those options would serve you best. I'm curious, do you think that would be helpful or useful for you guys so you can make that decision, whether it's sooner or later?
And then here's the thing.
We're back in. Mm-hmm.
After they say, like, are you still interested in selling? And let's say they say yes. I usually say, great. What's a good day for us to get together? That way we can go over the home selling process and what we can do to help you get top dollar for the property. I usually just go straight up, like, there's an opportunity.
I would do the exact same thing. I would just do it in a little, just a little bit of a augmented way. Great. Well, being that that's the case, may I make a suggestion? And what I'm doing there is asking permission to close. And, yeah, what is it? Well, based on what you were kind enough to share with me in our first conversation, and today, it sounds like you guys have decided as a family, it's not a question of if you're going to sell, it's just simply when and who's going to help you. Wow. The second thing I'm hearing from you is that the more information you can gather right now, in terms of realistically what would be top dollar and net bottom line, what the proceeds would be when it all shakes out, as well as some of these ancillary services that could be helpful or useful in terms of preparing the property for sale and estate sales and clear outs, the better equipped you guys will be so you can make that decision when the time is right. So what I'd like to do is this, and I really wouldn't mind at all. We have a lot of clients in a similar stage in the process. And what we do initially is we schedule a very simple 10, maybe 15-minute, no obligation whatsoever, phone or Zoom, because if they're local, right, maybe meet them, right. But if they're not, phone or Zoom appointment where we can see each other. And what I can show you during that time frame and our time together are those two things very clearly. Number one, a clear, realistic picture of equity, in terms of the current marketplace, as we're noticing that some things are changing. So we'll take a very close look at that and net bottom line, what the proceeds would be to you guys and the tax implications. The second thing we can go over is if you did decide to rent, which again, either one is fine, what that would look like. And then at least this way, Mario, whether it's sooner, later, me, or even somebody else, you'll have all the most important information you need so you can make the decision that you feel is best in terms of how to proceed. Does that sound fair to you?
Fair.
Okay, great. So I'm looking here at my schedule under normal conditions. If me, you, and your sibling were to connect, are you guys usually available in the evenings or the afternoons? Notice I only give two options. Either one I'm okay with, because what do I do in the mornings? Prospect.
Correct.
And then they're like, evenings, okay, great. And evenings for you is at like 6 or a little bit later at 7. 6 works. All right, so I'll grab a pencil with a big eraser. I'll pencil something in for tomorrow at 6. I'll have my assistant, Carla, she'll call you to confirm, make sure that that still works for you. If something comes up, if we need to change it or move it around, we can always do that. Does that sound okay? Yeah, that's fine. All right, great. Now, before we connect, I just have a couple super quick questions to ask you just to make sure that I'm fully prepared and I can provide you with the most accurate information, really be the best assistance to you and your brother. And I'll be brief because I know your time is valuable. Notice I'm not asking if now's a good time because it's never a good time, and then you're going to have to track them down.
Right.
Hey, you think I've said that once or twice before?
What did you take away from this, Mario?
First of all, my intro was wrong. I'm definitely doing the other thing you guys said, the sweat. I don't know what it was called.
You're doing the commission breath thing.
The commission breath, or the not
humility.
Not the humility, but I'm like, hey, you told me to call you in this and that day, or hey, I noticed you got your letters. How did that go? I'm not starting off like this, so.
You're basically saying, hey, are you still interested in selling? Or, hey, is this something that you're still considering, basically?
Yeah. I don't ask that. So now I'm going to just start with the humility, get into the selling, frame it a little bit, ask if they're still selling, and then ask basically if we could set an appointment, whether it's the Jose style where you just right to it, or you frame it like Aaron, where may I make a recommendation based on what you've been kind enough to share with me throughout. So it just makes sense because it's basically what we do anyways.
And then guess what's going to start to happen. So like, let's say that, so whenever you ask them, are you still looking to sell? They're either going to say yes, no, or maybe.
Right.
If they say yes or maybe, you can close. If they say no, you would need to continue to qualify the lead to see if there's another opening where it makes sense to go for the appointment again. Or maybe it doesn't make sense to go for the appointment. If they after you say, hey, what's a good day for us to get together? That way we can go over the home selling process or however it does it. One of three things is going to happen. They're either going to say, yes, that's a great idea. Let's get together. They're going to say no, or in either one of those scenarios, they're going to start objecting. So they might say things like, let's say I say, hey, are you still looking to sell? Yes, I am. Great. What's a good day for us to get together? They're going to say, yes, let's get together this day. They're going to object, or they're going to say no. So if they object, they might say things like, well, Mario, I kind of mentioned to you the last time that I have an agent that I'm working with. Oh, you know what? You're right. You did mention that to me. I'm so sorry about that. Hey, Mario, I'm not sure if you're open to this. Here's what a lot of sellers are doing whenever they're selling a property.
There's a reason why he sells 150 homes a year. Did you hear that, bro? That is some game for you, team. And that's what we do here. We give away $1 million worth of game for free. So let's go be great. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Thank you guys.